just like how all these very intelligent populations are having real baby problems. And you go, okay, what is it in education that makes either men not want to have kids or women not want to have kids? And it's not that women shouldn't be educated, but what are they being told that they I mean, you have kids and we both have special needs children,
Yeah.
and like even that would I would do it 1,000 times over and over again because I love them. And just and you could be like, some people be like, oh, if I had a special need I wouldn't know what I do. Well, I know what I do. I love them, and
Yeah.
I take care of them. And
Yeah.
but I would do it 1,000 times over, even if I knew that was the end of the outcome.
Look to Europe. Europe has been ahead of us on this for so long. And I've always wondered that, like, no, people my age, women my age, who I would run into because I did some international like banking program when I was first out of school, they just never had kids. And there were a couple of factors. I would say the primary factor was there was no surplus money. So people just don't have extra money. I have a Swedish friend. She has no extra money at all. I'm like, why don't you come visit? She's like, I can't afford a plane ticket. I'm like, well, I can give you miles. She's like, no, I'll come when I can come, but she cannot afford anything. And they also put a lot of pressure on everyone, but really especially the women to go to graduate school, to just keep going to school until they're in their 30s. Nobody has any money and
Yeah.
it's too late.
And
And
they're,
that's what you can look at.
dude, I forget what show I was watching, but they were talking about how like women have almost like 70% of the debt right now.
Wow.
They have like a huge, way disparate, way more than half
Wow. That's interesting.
because they're going to school. And like you just said, they're going deeper, deeper, deeper into school, which is
Yeah.
so it's all to me, it's all cult shit. I mean, I'm just sorry, it's all cult shit to
They
me.
definitely want to destroy, like the destroying the family is so important from way back. What was I think? Oh, I watched The Graduate. Graduate was free on Netflix, and I watched it last night with my husband. He was like, "What was the point of that movie?" And I said, "The point was to demonstrate a false morality to that revolutionary baby boomer generation back then, where women are like this rich, beautiful housewife, um, was just miserable, sexually unfulfilled, had to live this life without love because she got knocked up in the back of a Ford. You know, that was the Anne Bancroft character. And this kid was so disgruntled. He had just been, super popular in college. And like the whole thing was how miserable it was to be a housewife. And I'm like, it's not. I was wrong. It's
Biggest
not.
lie ever told. And
Yeah.
it's just like all you have to do is listen to what old people say. And they always say the same thing. I wish I worked less. Nobody says I wish I worked more. Listen, I'm a dad. I have to take care of a lot of people. I wish I worked less. But the
Yeah,
reality
no,
is
you
I
got that
can't.
burden. Very
Yeah, and it's and
stressful.
but it fits into my DNA and my wiring, so I love it. It
Okay,
makes
good.
me feel good. But
Yeah, it should fit in. My
yeah, I
husband
know.
too. Like I had a better job than he had. And I was like, I'm just working to get money. He's like, oh, I like my job. I'm like, oh, you win. I'm
No,
out.
I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
I just like, again, I don't know if you've ever talked to Rachel Evans. We just had her on. I feel like you two would have the best talk
Yeah.
ever.
I'd love to talk to her.
Yeah, she does. She did a book about the occult and intelligence origins of feminism. It was one of the
Wow.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
I'll
intelligence.
I'll hook you two up. It would be really great.
Wow.
She's
Interesting.
a great conversation. And so yeah, you study that stuff and it's all done on purpose. And then you start to get into like, it's like, okay, so now this very highly educated, what we would call what's it in the dating pool? High demand man, high demand male, high demand female. I forget the exact term it is, but now they're not producing kids.
Right.
And who's producing kids? Like just
Oh, idiocracy.
yeah. And we're looking
Idiocracy,
more.
or only the idiots would make
And
sense.
it's just like it's so crazy to me. And then you have like Taylor Swift, who by all accounts, and we'll get back to Spars, I promise you, but
It's, I
it,
don't care.
by Taylor Swift is like playing like a total when she's done 9 nights at Wembley. and
That's
she sold them
so
all out.
insane.
And she's having her whole crowd, shout about take down the patriarchy, take down the patriarchy. And I'm like, let's say there is a patriarchy, you
Who
are
do you think is
flourishing
buying
in it.
those tickets?
Yeah, who do you think's paying for all that shit?
Dad.
Right? One,
Dad is
it's like
paying.
unbelievable. But what she's doing is, I mean, we're talking about a woman who, by all accounts, can't keep a man. And every time doesn't have a man, she writes a song about what a piece of shit he is, right? And then it just becomes this weird cycle. And